Back another album review. Today's review is on the soundtrack for Independence Day, Resurgence. Before I review the soundtrack, I need to briefly talk about the movie. This is the long-awaited sequel to the Roland Emmerich classic, Independence Day. The film spent a long-ass time in development hell and wasn't released until 2016. Although it has a mediocre reception on IMDb, I personally thought it was a pretty good movie, just not nearly as good as its predecessor. Now for the soundtrack. It was produced and composed by Thomas Wander and Harald Kloser. It was recorded by Adam Olmsted, Kevin Globerman, Vincent Carilli, Dennis Sands, and Tim Lauber at Newman Scoring Stage. The editing was done by Oliver Hug with Enel Onyekwer and Matt Fausak. The orchestrators were James Seymour Brett and Marcus Trump. The mixing was done by Casey Stone and Jeff Fitzpatrick at Capitol Studios and Soundwaves. The mastering is done by Patricia Sullivan at Bernie Grunman Mastering. The soundtrack was released on June 17th, 2016 on Sony Classical. Now let's talk about the songs. Keep in mind, this will contain spoilers from the movie, so watch this review at your own risk. The beginning of the soundtrack is traveling through space. The aliens travel through space to set their sights on Earth once again. The next track is The Great Speech. The president has a speech commemorating the 20th anniversary of the War of '96. The movie does show that humanity has better weapons, better transportation, better technology thanks to reverse engineering the aliens' technology. As that is hostile territory. Apparently there was a ship that landed in Africa in '96 that wasn't destroyed. Next up is how they get the lights on. The Earth Space Defense has a base on the moon that serves as a first line of defense when the aliens would return. Up next is inside the African ship. Apparently the ship in Africa was still active. We follow up with more stimulation. Just like in the first movie, Area 51 plays a major role. That's followed by fear. Apparently, former President Whitmore has PTSD from the War of '96. Right after that is the friendly spaceship. A mysterious ship arrives at the moon through a wormhole. The president orders for it to be shot down despite David Levison's objection. What comes next is The Only Family I Got. Pilots from the International Legacy Squadron of the ESD flew their hybrid fighters to the moon. What comes after that is Welcome to the Moon. David Levison and several others flew on one of the moon tugs to the moon so they could retrieve what was inside the friendly ship. What's next is What Goes Up. This track is actually played multiple times in the movie. Hell, it's a track that's played on the Blu-ray menu. What's after that is It's Getting Real. The alien queen arrives, and her ship has its own shield and gravity. The following track is Flying Inside. Some of the pilots flew inside the ship. There's one part where Jake Morrison took a whiz and gave the aliens the finger. Now, the track that follows is It's a Trap. I should mention that the movie's budget was more than twice that of its predecessor, but it grossed less than half of what the first film made. The track after that is Worth Fighting For. The hybrid fighters and bombers were designed on both Earth and in space. One major plot hole is that they don't have shields. However, the lasers can penetrate the aliens' shields. The track that comes after that is The Sphere. The Sphere awakens and informs what the aliens did to her species, what they plan to do to humanity. The track that comes next is The Queen is Leaving. The Queen grabs the sphere and takes it with her. What follows is Whitmore's Choice. former President Whitmore decides to take one for the team and sacrifice himself in an attempt to destroy the Queen's ship. He succeeded, but the Queen survived because she had her own shield. The next track is Humanity's Last Stand. The humans took one last stand to fight back against the aliens. After that is Bus Chase. Julius Levison drove the bus while everyone is being chased by the Queen. Right after that is We Are Rich. The Queen was killed and the rest of the aliens died. The active ship failed to reach Earth's core. Next up is Independence Day Resurgence Finale. The Sphere mentions traveling through interstellar space to take the fight to the aliens' home planet. This was to be continued in a sequel film, but that never happened due to the film being considered a flop. Up next is ID4 Reprise. The original composition was made by David Arnold, who composed the music for the first film. The second to last track is Electric You by Kid Bloom. This track was written by Jesse Perlman, Josh Conway, and Roland Kloser. The ending of the soundtrack is Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down by Annie Trauso. The original lyrics were written by Sonny Bono. I couldn't find any information on how the soundtrack performed commercially. However, 180 Discogs users own the soundtrack. It also has a 4.13 out of 5 on that site. Now for my thoughts. I think this is a great soundtrack, even though there's a handful of songs that were omitted from it. It's a shame that the movie flopped because I would have wanted to see a continuation. Overall, I highly recommend the soundtrack. Now as part of my question to you, have you listened to the soundtrack for Independence Day Resurgence? If so, what do you think about it? What's your favorite song from it? If you saw the movie, what do you think about it? Now let me know in the comments. If you like the video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to press the notification bell to notify of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another review.